Okay.
Hi everyone and welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed my last video. Today's video I want to talk a little bit more about how to do things in life that will make life a little bit more enjoyable and more easy. So I'll just go through a few steps and we'll take it from there. So the number one thing is, when you wake up, always be grateful. Grateful for your life, grateful for what you've got. The more you're grateful in life, the more you'll get good things coming to you. A lot of people get stuck in a trap where they start thinking that what other people have is more than what they have. But it may be so that that other person is more grateful and that's why they're getting more things. So always remember to be grateful. Next one is be organised. If you're organised, you're more likely to enjoy life and not spend time trying to find things. Always have a space, a place, a home for everything you've got. If you're organised, you can just grab your things and you're out the door, rather than if you've got clutter around you, a cluttered mess, then you've got a cluttered mind. Buying clothes is the next one. Anything really, buying clothes, accessories, anything like that, always go for good quality items. Now, you may get an item that is maybe cheaper in some stores, but it won't last you as long, you know, so you end up buying the item 2-3 times. It's a waste of money. You end up replacing the item. So, you know, things that like electrical items, electrical goods, things like that, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to pay full price for things. You could always buy them cheaper, maybe when they're on sale. Maybe shop in TK Maxx. I'm a great fan of TK Maxx, where you can buy products that are good quality. Always feel the material when you're buying clothes, because you don't want to be them to crumple up, things like that. So sometimes it may be a high-end clothing, however it will get crumpled up and it will look a bit shabby. So always feel the clothing and see if it's good, of high quality. Another great way is, oh, it's gone out of my head now, I'm thinking, I'll come back to that. Oh yeah, I'll try, when it comes to clothing, I'm always like trying to make my life a lot simple. So what I do is I don't go for clothes that I have to iron. So I tend to go for clothes that are iron free. So like dresses, things like that, that I don't have to iron. Occasionally I iron the odd shirt here and there, but that's about it really. I don't really have a lot of clothes that I have to iron. Doing a little bit of makeup, this one's for the ladies really, a little bit of makeup daily. Now, it doesn't have to be a lot of makeup, it doesn't have to take you a lot of time, but I think, like for example, like today's makeup was literally a quick rush. Yeah, I've got mascara on, blusher, I've done my eyebrows, I've penciled them in, and I've got lipstick on. It just makes you feel better. If you know, make a little bit of an effort, you always feel good. Next one is make sure you shower daily. I know it sounds crazy, but having a shower makes you feel good. You feel more alive and awake, and no one wants to be smelly, so that's one. And always put your deodorant on straight after you come out of the shower. And a little tip for me is I always use a cotton bud to clean my ears straight after the shower. I find it as a good habit to get into. Washing your face, like it should be morning and at night. Now, I'm sure lots of people are doing that, but I'm sure that there are still some people who go to sleep with their makeup on. What normally happens is you block the pores up and you end up with spots the next day. So wash your face and moisturise before you go to bed at night. Don't normally use a thicker cream in the night. That way it's a bit more greasy, so you don't want to use that during the day, but that usually helps a lot. I use tea tree oil if I have spots. I just put the tea tree oil directly onto the spot, and in the morning it has reduced in size. That's just another one to go into. Brushing your teeth, vital, essential, twice a day, every day. And when you do brush your teeth, spend your time. Now, always work from one side to the other. I used to work in a dental practice. I've been in a dental environment for like 15 years, so I could do a whole big video on that. And also an orthodontic practice, where cleaning around braces. I don't want to verge too into that and go too much into detail. Maybe it can be a whole new video altogether. I'll quickly mention flossing your teeth, because the outer surface of your teeth and the inner surface and the biting surface normally gets brushed, but in between is a lot of space that is missed if you don't floss. So when you floss, make sure you clean either side, each side of every tooth that you floss in. And you see people who have like really nice shiny gleamy teeth, you normally can tell that they're flossed because you can see all the nice curvature of the tooth. I'm looking down because my notes are there, so excuse me. Smell good, like, you know, just a quick spritz off a bit of aftershave, or a bit of, like, for the men, and a bit of perfume for the girls. Always makes you feel good. Like, you know, when you smell something that makes you feel good, it always lifts up your mood. Another thing is put a bit of jewellery on. Like, you're probably thinking, yeah, I've got no necklace on today or anything like that, but I have got some earrings, I've got a ring on. Just makes you feel a little bit more nice and feminine for the girls. Drinking water. Now, I used to be so bad and not drink any water at all. And literally, I'd go through the whole day and just go through cups and cups of coffee to keep me going. And at night, I couldn't fall asleep, and I was wondering why. One of these things that are new things that I've started to do, which has probably been about a year now, and I feel great now for doing that, is I make sure I have, the first thing in the morning when I wake up, I have a glass of water. That is before my breakfast, and then with my breakfast I have another glass of water within the first half of the meal. And I use that same rule for every single meal. A lot of people think that drinking water after a meal is the best way. That's incorrect, actually, because what you're doing is, when you're eating the food and there's no liquid inside your stomach, and then you're drinking water on top, all the fats that are in the food get congealed, and it kind of gets stuck. So you have to think of it as a waste pipe. If there's something already in there, like, so you've got fluid already in there, what happens is when you're putting the food in afterwards, it helps digest your food. So that's a great way of getting your water intake. It's normally easier to drink water at the beginning of the meal rather than the end anyway. Talked about that one. Oh yeah, diet. So I don't like to use the word diet because I really think it's ridiculous. There's no such thing as a diet. There's this diet, that diet, whatever, you know. The main thing is avoid fast foods, avoid fried foods, you know. One thing we've got in our house, which I invested in about 6 months ago, I'd say, is an air fryer, which is fantastic, because sometimes we would still like to have, you know, things that are crispy, and air frying the food really helps. I found that the Philips brand of the air fryer is a really good brand, because it's something that's going to last. So again, I like to research about my things before I invest any money into anything, because you want something to last, so it's better off buying a better quality one. I actually got mine on Amazon for half price when it was in one of the sales. So yeah, that's that. When you're eating, try and think of fruit, vegetables, you know, salads, things like that. If it's got an array of colours in your diet, you know it's going to be good for you. And anything that is natural is always better. Reading. Reading actually improves your vocabulary a lot. I must admit, I haven't been great at reading recently. I want to get back into it, because one thing is, when you read, you put your full focus onto what you're reading. So that gives your mind some time to rest and not worry and think about other things, is when you're reading. So if that's difficult at the moment, and you know, sometimes you don't have time, maybe on the way to work, your commute, you can listen to it in your car, listen to an audio of a book, and then that way you're not only learning new ways of saying things, you're actually learning new things, which is always great. I read a book quite recently which I thought was a great book. It's called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. That book basically teaches you about how to ignore this voice in your head that is always talking to you. I'm kind of trying to get it into a nutshell. That is always communicating with you. What you have to distinguish is it is just a thought, and not to get too wrapped into it, because when you do that, you could be thinking about something, and 24 hours, 12 hours, a whole day could go past, and you're living, but you're actually, your mind, you're living with those thoughts. So that's one book. So there's other books as well which I'll recommend in time as well. So I think that's a great book to read if you are like what I used to be. I used to overthink everything and overanalyze, and that's not good for you and not good for your mental health. And the last thing I'm going to mention is to compliment good things to people. So literally that means when you're out and about, even when you're walking past people, try and give smile, because one, it makes someone else good. You could change their whole day by doing that. And don't be afraid to compliment. If you see something you like, or you think someone looks nice, tell them. It doesn't harm you, it doesn't cost you anything, but it really boosts the morale of the other person that you've just complimented. And what you give out in life, you get back. When you speak to people as well, which is another thing I'll mention, is don't listen to the tone of your voice when you're speaking. If you get angry, and shout and lash out at someone, that all that anger, frustration that you're lashing out and giving out, actually it's all inside of you. So when someone shouts at you, for example, what you have to realize, it's not you who has got the problem. So you have to learn to not retaliate. So the best way to deal with, if you're in a situation where someone's having a go or shouting, what you have to remember is it's not necessarily always you, because you're not the one who's shouting. So you must always, if someone's shouting at you and you're shouting back, what happens is you become worse than what they've just said, because you've retaliated. That means you've got no control of yourself. It's all about having self-control. So if you ever feel like upset, it's best to just zip it, keep quiet, even if it means walking away, and always say things in a calm way, to say, please do not speak to me like that. You don't need to shout. It's unnecessary. There's ways of communicating without getting angry, because one thing is, if you do it once, twice, 3 times, then it becomes a habit, and then you become that, person that's always angry, and it's not really worth it, is it? So would you rather be someone who's upset and angry all the time, or someone who's happy? So always turn it around. If it means take a few deep breaths, okay, gather your thoughts together, and then just think of something else. If it means removing yourself away from the negativity, do that. But the ultimate control is when you can actually stay in this room with someone and not retaliate. So that's one. I know I was a bit here and there in this video, because I'm just doing just general thoughts and ideas, but hopefully my next video will be of one thing, and I'll just stick to it, and I'll go through in great detail. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I would love to know what you think of my video. Thank you. Bye.